Okay, so today we're going to talk all about foot fetishes. And if you have one, you are definitely not the only one. This is a very common fetish. So among people who express a preference for particular body parts, about 47% of people have a preference for feet or toes, making it the most common fetishistic body part. In general, population surveys that are fantasy-based, around 14% reported having fantasized about feet or toes playing a prominent role in sexual scenarios. Specific breakdowns are, of heterosexual men, approximately 18% have a foot fetish. In gay and bisexual men, it's approximately 21%. In lesbian and bisexual women, it's about 11%. And in heterosexual women, it's only about 5%. Some broader studies suggest a prevalence rate of almost 10%, particularly in men. And in some focus study groups, one found 21.5% of male participants reported a fetishistic interest in feet. So if you have a foot fetish, you are definitely not alone. Don't let anybody make you feel weird that you have a foot fetish. The bottom line is that the foot fetish is among the most common of sexual interests for people outside of genitalia. And fantasies about feet affect almost 1 in 7 people. So let's talk about how people get foot fetishes. There's many different theories or suggestions, and it's probably a combination of a few different things. So the first one is that the feet are associated with sexual arousal early in life, eventually triggering arousal on its own. Some gay and bisexual men are reported to have recalled early childhood experiences like massaging the feet of male relatives as foundational in developing their foot fetish. A theory I learned myself when I was in college, taking a bunch of neuroanatomy type classes, was that a neuroscientist named V.S. Ramachandran proposed that the sensory receiving areas for the feet and the genital area could lead to cross-activation or cross-smudging, where stimulation of one area, such as the feet, spills over and stimulates the adjacent area, the genitals, which triggers sexual arousal. So the somatosensory cortex in our brain contains a sensory map of our body. I'll show you a picture here. And as you can see on this diagram, the feet are adjacent to the genitalia. And these are the areas of the brain that receive sensory information from those areas. So the theory is that maybe there's a little bit of a cross-wiring in the brain for the area that's receiving the information from the genitalia and the feet. This is known as cortical smudging or cross-wiring. This theory is heavily debated, and it is probably an oversimplification of many complex behavior and psychological development that may contribute to a foot fetish. One study in 2020 actually used high-resolution fMRI and found that genital sensations, unlike those from the feet, are processed both in the sensory and emotional brain regions, suggesting that different mechanisms are at play. There's also the sensory effect. Feet are highly innervated, which makes them especially responsive to touch. Stimulating them can be particularly arousing. There's also a taboo effect. The fact that feet are often concealed in everyday life, exposure can carry a sense of secrecy or forbidden allure. Some theories suggest that early experiences, such as sensory, emotional, or sexual, where feet are associated with comfort, bonding, or arousal, shape later preferences. One person theorized that as we are infants, we're positioned with our attention naturally on our caregiver's feet, which could then form some sexual preference for feet later in life. Another common theory is that foot fetishes are learned behavior developed through classical conditioning, where a person repeatedly pairs the sight or touch of feet with sexual pleasure. Freud suggested that fetishes originate early in childhood through fixation on an object or body part. For feet, this could involve linking them to early positive or negative experiences. Feet can also symbolize power, dominance, or submission in a relationship. Kneeling before a dominant can become erotic, which adds a psychological layer to the attraction. This could involve the desire to worship, kiss, or wash a partner's feet, aligning with certain power fantasies. So in conclusion, the development of a foot fetish is a complex interplay of neurological, psychological, and learned factors.